Good morning, good afternoon, depending upon where you are. My name is Tara Tibbs, and welcome to our second installment of our esports series. And I am delighted to have with us today Krysta Bradley from Salinas City Elementary School District, who's going to be presenting to us. What I have done, and you all have tested it, some of you have had the opportunity to test it for me, I have enabled your microphones as well as your chat functionality, because this is a digital workshop. And the goal of the digital workshops, if you haven't joined me in one of these before, is that I want us to have that authentic conversation. And in order to do that, it requires you piping in when you have a question or a comment to share. So please feel that freedom to do so. We want these to be feel, very informal. It's not a sit and get webinar, but an actual, like I said, a authentic conversation. Those of you who were able to put into chat where you're from, thank you. Welcome. I'm excited to have you here. Our first installment of our esports series, which was last month with Claire, went so well. So I'm just really excited to bring this to you all today in our community. Before we get started, I, as always, want to do just a couple of housekeeping items. You know that I love to be able to give something away. And so in order for you to take advantage of that, I will need you to engage in our educator community. And if you're not yet a member of our community, let me show you what that looks like really quickly. And then I am going to turn it over to Krysta. So let me just real quick share my screen. And so this is our community page. And so I just want to show you the link that I'm going to put in is going to take you here, our district spotlight. Actually, Salinas City is going to be our July edition of the district spotlight. So you get a sneak peek of what you can expect in our next month edition. But this is Wilson County Schools. Excited to have you guys read their implementation story. But here's a join link here. And so it would take you into the community if you're already a member. If you are not a member, then you'll do a real quick little form to fill out, and it'll show, and it'll give you the, you'll fill out the information, and then you'll be able to jump right into our community. In order to participate in the giftogram, where you get to pick where that gift card goes, you'll have to come here, okay? This landing page, you'll have to come to the post for this session and click on it. And then you will see that we've already started a comment thread, okay? And you can continue the comment thread. The goal is to interact in the community and keep the conversation going, okay? So that's all you'll need to do. What I'll do, depending upon how many responses I have or comments I see here, I'll draw 1 to 2 names, and then I'll let you know who won in the community, and then I'll ensure that your gift card is on the way via email. Okay, so I will make sure that link gets there. So sometime during our time together, you can click on it. I also, because I am so generous and I do want to make sure that someone wins, I'll keep it going after the session, just if you're wanting to kind of process your thoughts and be able to put a thoughtful comment there. I love that too. So there's that. That's all the housekeeping items I have. I'm going to stop sharing 1 second and allow you to hear Krysta's story, which is the Salinas City story about how their esports began. And I just was super captivated by it, because one thing that I love to hear as I'm coming to understand and know the different facets of esports is the how unique the stories are, but then the what also unifies the stories. So I'm excited for you to hear that, and then also be thinking about wherever you are in your esports path, finding your way, and hopefully there's something within Krysta's story that resonates to encourage you to get started, or again, because it's a digital workshop, tell us where you are and share out, and hopefully this again can be that authentic conversation or think tank around how you can be inspired to get started. So without any further ado, I want to introduce Krysta to you. And thank you, Krysta, for joining us this morning, afternoon for some.
Thank you, Tara. Welcome, everybody. That was a great introduction. And yes, if you have not joined the ViewSonic educator community, I would highly recommend it. I get lots of my questions about the view boards and the interactivity answered on that. So yeah, I highly recommend it. My name's Krysta Bradley, and I am an educator, probably like most of you. I have worked for Salinas City Elementary. This is going to be my 15th year as a teacher. This is actually my second, I'm going into my third year as a teacher on special assignment for technology and innovation. And a big part of my job was rolling out those view boards last year, district-wide. We have about 9,000 students in our district, 15 different schools. So a big part was getting teachers trained. And I actually get to work a little bit with ViewSonic as one of their trainers. So I get to go to different districts and teach teachers how to use those view boards. But my regular job has been about computer science this year, really trying to make teachers aware of it and letting them know that the standards are here. They've been adopted. They've been around since 2018. And the way we decided to get kids excited about computer science and hopefully spread the word to our other schools and throughout the district is through esports. And I'm here to tell you a little bit about how we did that. And you guys, I am not going to pretend to be an expert about computer science or esports. I am definitely learning as I go. So please bear with me. I'm a beginner too. So without further ado, welcome. I've introduced myself. So the objectives for today, I want to kind of go through the basics. What is esports, in case we have beginners here like me, and what the benefits of those esports are to our students. And then again, how it relates to computer science and what we did as a district to kind of merge the two, and how we got started, what it was like, our first tournament, and then kind of a little bit of reflection about what went right, what didn't. And then I've got some resources for you all too. So esports, it's short for electronic sports, and it refers to competitive video gaming, sometimes at a professional level, sometimes at an amateur level, and it involves players or teams competing against each other in popular video games. And it's often organized, and it's like multiplayer competitions. So that's kind of the basic definition of it. There are some definite benefits to esports. Esports inherently, it requires players to work together and communicate effectively, right? And strategize as a team, which is a life skill. They're not only skills that are valuable in gaming, but also in real life scenarios that would transfer to other areas. There are now opportunities for scholarships, many opportunities, and this is a big seller, I think, for kids. Like, you can get paid to go to college for gaming, right? So it's a way to get kids excited about these different pathways. And there's lots of careers involved with computer science too. This is kind of a passion of mine. I have worked with students, obviously, who may not be physically capable of playing traditional sports like baseball and football, for whatever reason. And this is a way for them to participate as a team without having to have any type of physical capability, right? So it's all about inclusion and diversity as well. Another passion of mine is STEAM, right? So esports can stimulate an interest in STEAM, in the science, the technology, engineering, art. There's graphic design involved. There's definitely math involved in some computer science, all computer science fields. So, and then understanding the technology behind gaming, it can lead to curiosity about computer science, right? And about programming and other related areas. So in September of 2018, state of California adopted the computer science standards, and there's now a really big push to incorporate and integrate the standards into our day at school. Esports is a great way to do that, whether as a club or as enrichment. And I'm going to tell you about a little bit about how the 3 schools in our district did that. We did it all very differently, so you would have to find what works best for you. But when you think about any video game, your favorite as a kid, there's a lot that goes into the back end of that for the user experience, right? So aside from coding and programming, there's graphic design and user interface. All of those things are critical. Through my research, as I've been learning more and more about this, according to Alan Sittimer, he is the founder of Mastery Coding, esports has the potential to turn gamers into makers, right? They love to game, but then they can become curious about how the game is made, and then hopefully they can make their own game someday. So this is kind of the progression according to Mastery Coding. So they have this passion, right, to play games. And I have 4 kids of my own, all boys. 3 of them really love to game. And my youngest says that's what he's going to be when he grows up. He's going to be a gamer, right? But I'm slowly tricking him into becoming a computer scientist, right? Like, okay, you love to game. Now let's become curiosity about the game design, right? The setting, the characters, how those characters move around. That's all programming. So then they can learn about new skills that go into game creation, eventually become certified, earn an accreditation, and hopefully get a career in that area. There's a lot of jobs out there right now that talk about all of this, right? And they're really high paying jobs. And that's a goal of mine for my community. Moving into our story, I live in Salinas, California, and I was born here, never left. I actually get to work sometimes at the elementary school that I attended. It is in the district that I work for. All of our schools are Title I. We have a lot of multilingual students, and a lot of our students have family members who are agricultural workers. Salinas has been called by LA Times the richest poor city in America. And that makes me sad because there is definitely a wealth gap between the owners of these produce companies versus the people that actually do the hard labor, right? So this gap, I kind of have been looking at that gap through the lens of computer science and talking with people in my community. I have friends who teach at the private schools, who teach at the local college. And the students that are going to college and are majoring in computer science that are from our area are from the private schools, are from the affluent school districts like in Carmel, California. They're getting computer science, but some schools are not incorporating that into the curriculum. And for me, that's a problem because our students deserve every opportunity that those students get. So I've spent the last year, like I said, trying to bring CS to our district. And I'm seeing that gap big time. And I know that many of these students, all of them, no matter where they're from, they love gaming. And we have these very cool new interactive flat screen panels by ViewSonic. So I wanted to use those as leverage to help incorporate some CS. This is Lisa Delapo. If you don't know who she is, I would highly encourage that you Google her. She is incredible. She's the director of IT for Union School District, but that's just That's just her title, her job title. She's also on the Q board of directors. She's a chief technology officer, mentor. She actually mentored my boss, who's now a CTO. She's been a merit director, and she, most importantly to me, it's near and dear to my heart, she advocates for women in tech leadership. And I saw her at a site conference a few months ago, and she presented with a couple of other women from Google, from Microsoft, and they inspired me so much that I could become a CTO someday, right? So that's another thing. I really want to make sure girls have all the opportunities to participate in esports and go into these STEM fields as well. So for my district, getting started, I created a shopping list, right? So there are some really amazing computers, PCs, some of them made by ViewSonic that can be used in esports clubs, but we didn't have that luxury to get started that way right now. Maybe someday we'll grow to that level so we can compete on PCs, but we do right now have view boards. So that's what we wanted to do. And the Nintendo Switch, it's an inexpensive, relatively speaking, piece of equipment. Costs about $350 for the basic version. So my shopping list, you'll see that right there on that slide, it consisted of the Switch, several extra controllers, the Joy-Cons. I needed a case that locked, right? Because I was going to keep this somewhere at the school, and then games. So I'll talk a little bit more about the games we played. We are an elementary district, so Fortnite, things like that were not an option. And I didn't really want them playing that, so we went with some more appropriate games for younger children. But the next thing after realizing, okay, I don't have to spend that much money, but I do have to convince a lot of people that this is valuable. And you might find yourself in this situation too. So what I did, there were two other teachers who were interested in doing this with me, and they were classroom teachers at two of the schools. I approached a principal that I have a relationship with, and I said, can I do this as an after school program? This is why I want to do it, because she was at first skeptical, like, well, I don't video gaming after school, and it's going to be more than that, I promise, right? So I had to convince her, first of all, to let me do this, and then I had to go to her PTA and say, look, this is how much money I need, about $1,000. I want to do this enrichment club. This is why. And they approved it. And then the other two teachers, I shared my presentation with them, and they took it to their PTOs or their PTCs. They pitched it, and it got approved too. So people were seeing the value in it, probably because they were parents of kids who do like to game. And they saw that this could be a pathway for them as well. So then I had to pitch it to the big dogs, right? Like the ed services leadership team, the superintendent, talking to them about it's going to be more than just gaming. I'm going to be teaching them computer science and getting them excited about computer science at the same time. The three different schools that did this pilot with me, we targeted different groups. One, they really wanted to push to work with students who had good grades, right? They were targeting those high achievers, and it was a privilege to be a part of this esports club. For me, I'm not a classroom teacher. This was going to be an extra side thing for me. I needed kids who the teachers said they're going to behave, they're going to do this, right? So for this, that's what I wanted. For next year, I think we'll be targeting things like PBIS, like behavior, right? Like the kids who need this kind of interaction, who need this kind of coaching. And then other schools are thinking about targeting chronic absenteeism. So those kids who are absent all the time, they can use this as leverage to make sure these kids come to school. So whatever your district's needs are, your school's needs are, think about which kind of kids you want to target, because it's going to be popular. You're going to have to probably turn kids away. So you want to be selective about that. So the curriculum, and this is ongoing, it's like a living curriculum, truly. Thanks to Lisa Delapo. She talked about the CTE pathways that her district was using to bring in learning about computer science careers. So one of my assignments that my students did, they had to learn about a computer science career that interested them. So, and I'll show you a little bit about the ones they chose, research it, and then present about it. There was also some asynchronous work, articles that I found about pathways from esports to computer science careers, and I'm going to share those with you all too. And then we definitely focused on teamwork and social emotional learning and self-regulation, and all of those things, and being supportive of your teammates. And then we put a major emphasis on computational thinking. Computational thinking is the foundation for computer science, and it can transfer to any subject, right? Think about writing. Okay, I'm going to start with my introduction, my body paragraphs, then I need a conclusion. Or think about math, you decompose a math problem. So you're thinking about things step by step. So we thought about our gaming in a step-by-step computational thinking kind of mindset. And then of course, part of the club, and this was the hook, right, is that they get to game. They get to play video games with their friends at school. So that was what excited them, what drew them in, but then I kind of tricked them to do all this other stuff and get them excited about something more than just gaming. The games we used, and I know Fortnite's big, there are other games that esports clubs use, but like I said, we are a TK through 6 district. We use Nintendo Sports, which we didn't play much of, to be honest. They were not that into that, but I wanted it as an option. And then Mario Kart and Super Smash Bros. And Super Smash Bros. Was definitely the most popular. I liked Mario Kart because that was one game I could beat them at, but Super Smash Bros. Was their favorite for sure, and it's the game we ended up playing in the tournament. So at our first meeting, I had a total of 9 students. There were 7 boys and 2 girls, and guys, I had to really go out and like try to recruit girls to be on this team. So in hindsight, like that's going to be a major target of mine for next year, is making sure this is balanced and making sure girls feel comfortable in these types of scenarios. So only 2 girls. We generated a code of conduct as a team. That's our actual code of conduct that we created together there on the left. So what I expected from them, right? From the coach to player, right? And then what they expected of me, and then what they expected of each other. And then we talked about the equipment, right? Like, how are we going to treat our view board? How are we treating our Nintendo Switch and the games, right? We can't just leave those little tiny games laid all over the place, right? They're going to get lost. So we really talked about that and what the expectations were. And then I blew that up into a big poster, and it stayed in our club room for the whole time we met. The second part of our first meeting was designing a logo. We used Canva, and they all designed one. Those are some of them. We ended up voting at our second meeting, and the one in the bottom right corner was the one they wanted. I didn't really give my opinion on it, but the school mascot is not a monkey. It's actually a Mustang, but that's the one they chose, and it looked pretty cute. Our club meetings, we had roughly 8 of them over a 2.5, 3-month period, and they were after school. Our schedule looked like this. We checked in. They came right after the bell rang. They raced over here. It was great. And then we would review expectations, outcomes for the day, and then we had rotations. Like half of the group was gaming, and then the other half was either working with me, working independently, or working with a partner on one of our 3 assignments or reading those articles. And then we always had some kind of closure. So we used Google Classroom as an LMS. So any announcements, reminders, messaging, on the stream, they were always, talking to one another in between our meetings, which was fine. They never abused that. And then their assignments and those articles were posted on Google Classroom. So like I said, I held my meetings after school as an enrichment class because I'm not currently in the classroom, but the other two schools, they did theirs at lunchtime as kind of like a lunch bunch club, which was, it totally worked for them. It wouldn't have worked for me though. So think about what would work best for you. So these are the projects that students did. So one of them was to research and learn about a career in computer science. Per Ms. Delapo's guidance, we could have taken this further, and what she did with her middle and high school students, yes, they picked a career, they researched it, but then they have to generate a resume. And then she actually holds a mock interview where they actually have to pretend they're interviewing for that job. And again, for elementary students, and just because of our time constrictions, we didn't get that far, but they did create these slide decks on whatever job they chose. And they did present to our superintendent and our assistant superintendent. And then they had to present those projects again at our tournament. So the tournament, every year we have something called a STEAM showcase in our district. This has been the 6th year this year. And we decided this year, this is where we were going to hold our tournament. So it was the Mission Park Esports team. That's the club that I coached. And then the dual immersion Esports team. That's the Pumas on the right-hand side. And the other school, they couldn't make it. The coach couldn't make it. And because they met at lunch, it wasn't really an after school thing for the kids. So they didn't participate, but hopefully next year, everybody is able to participate. So this was the flyer that went out and that we advertised. During the STEAM showcase part of the day, the students were standing at a view board together as a team, and they were presenting their projects while members of the community were asking them questions. And you can kind of see in that top right picture, one of the kids, that's Mikey, he was presenting his project to a couple of people. They were very nervous about this part, even though they had already presented for the superintendent and some other stakeholders. This really made them nervous. We also, during that part, we had view boards set up with the Nintendo Switches connected, and that families were playing the games together. So that was really cool to see, a father and a daughter gaming together. It was awesome. So after the first hour, the tournament began, and we used a bracketing system, and it was, again, just the two schools competed against one another. The outcome, other than my team winning, the best thing about that tournament is that the principals from 4 of the other schools in our district approached me or my boss to find out how they can get started. So I'm hopeful this can become a district-wide event next year. But I know it will be at least 7 of our 15 schools participating. So the kids who are promoting from 6th grade, they're leaving our district, they're going off to middle school. They're adamant that they will continue to play esports in middle school. And if there's not a club, they're going to start one or try to start one. So I hope to hear how that turns out for them. The 5th graders that were on the team, they want to come back next year. So I'm hoping I get to coach again, but if not, there are other teachers at the school that I coached at that are willing to take it over. So hopefully it will be a district-wide initiative next year, and we can use this curriculum that's slowly being built as kind of a guide. So at this point, I'm going to stop talking. I want to hear what questions you all have.
Love it. Love it. Thank you, Krysta. And love those images. I felt like the culmination of getting to, after your first year, getting to a tournament and then winning obviously sweetens it all. But yeah, we'd love for you guys either please come off of mute or drop your questions. I know I see one question around gaming on their phones. Can you run an esports program using your phones? Do you, any thoughts on that, Krysta?
That's a really good question. I have not seen that. But I'm going to share some resources with you all. There's a website called Challenge, and I think you can use it. It's challenge.com, spelled like challenge, but with an O at the end. So check that out. That it's like a bracketing system. I know you can definitely use your phone. I did use my phone to kind of keep track of who was winning. Yeah, so check that out, and it's free.
Nice. Awesome.
I will
And
share the slides. I see that in the chat.
yes, I know everyone wants the slides, and yes, they will be shared out. We're recording this session, so we're hoping you will have both the slides and the recording. I'll make sure that gets posted in the community. I see some more questions, some lessons you learned this year, and I mean, so one thing that was really captivating, Krysta's telling this story that it's her first year taking on being a coach, and yet she does it I'm like, really? It's your first year? Like, it's really hard to believe that it was just your first year. Can you talk about like the trepidation you had going into it and kind of how you worked through it throughout the year or this first year?
Yeah. So when I first took this job as the technology and innovation teacher on special assignment, I really wanted to start esports in my district. And I remember during my interview for the role, I said that. And
Yeah.
my boss he was like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't like the idea of kids playing video games at school. And I'm like, but it'll be more than that. I just couldn't articulate how it could be more than that until I started researching and really trying to push the CS stuff. Like, oh, this is how I get people to buy into esports and computer science. So that was really exciting, but it was really difficult because there is so much skepticism, especially from my supervisors. They are still skeptical, and I really had to pitch it like a sales pitch. And so that was really hard. That part was hard, and convincing parents even, and I think it helps that I'm a parent of school age children, and I saw the value in this, and I kind of talked to them that way. Because I have kids my own children, it's a battle to get them to put the tablet down or put the Nintendo Switch down, right? And I'm sure some of you can relate to that, but this is a way for us to redirect, to use their hobbies and their passions to, help them in the future. So that's kind of how I worked through it. I hope that answers your question, Tara.
That's good. No, absolutely. I'm going back to chat and it
Yeah.
says, Jamie, what are some lessons you learned while implementing your esports program?
Yeah, and I see Laura's kind of follows up on that, and
Yeah.
I'm mentioning that because it's kind of like my answer is kind of one and the same. So my girls that joined the club, they ended up quitting about halfway through, and that was heartbreaking for me because I've my whole career, I feel like I've been pushing girls towards STEM and showing them that they can do it, and I feel like I'm living proof that they can do it, right?
Yeah.
And I, it was so sad when they quit, and they came to me like, we feel like they yell too much and they're too, boys were just rambunctious, and they were excited, and boys just kind of like let that excitement out differently than the girls, and they were so timid, and it was awful. It was so sad. And I said, I'm not going to force you to come, but I need to do a better job at creating an environment where girls feel comfortable um, and valued. And I don't know what that's going to look like next year. I'm still exploring that, but it is a conversation I'm having like with our ed services team. And they said, well, what about if we do girls who code for the girls and we do esports for boys? And I'm like, well, I don't know. Like, how can we like make that crossover? So I'm open to hearing your guys' thoughts on how I can make that work better. But that was definitely the most difficult part. And my biggest lesson learned is that I'm going to have to really do a better job at making the girls feel included.
That's good. I see one person has mentioned about a girls only time. Um, we worked with another vendor to offer grants. Oh, girls who code. Nice, nice. a girls only team having girls come at lunchtime. I love that's so, yeah, all of those are all good suggestions around that. It's so interesting because I've definitely have had an opportunity to see both, where I've seen obviously the majority male team, but I have seen some teams where there has been both male and female. I know on our team, ViewSonic, we have a gamer, Courtney, and she's just we always have her speak at events because she's just so passionate about gaming as a girl. And so I just being able to spread that level of passion is something that I really love, because it is something, because I'll be honest, I'm one of those people where I'm such a girl, and it's like, yeah, no, I'm good, but there are so many elements of it that I could really appreciate. So it's really kind of demystifying it so that they feel so comfortable around that. I love that. Okay, I'm looking at oh, I see others. I think co-ed asked for these sorts. Interesting, unique way to try to,
I
yeah,
love the
yeah,
suggestions. Girls only,
exactly.
girls at lunch. Yeah, but definitely like having some kind of crossover too. And I want the girls to beat the boys,
Right,
right?
right. Exactly. Like
I would
once they get a
yeah,
taste of that,
yes.
that's
I
that's
mean,
going to be everything.
absolutely. I saw one about the refresh time on the ViewSonic. I can't answer that, Nicholas. But I do know it's beautiful on the view board. I don't know if that's something Ruben can answer later on, the
Yes,
refresh rate.
I'm getting that question now,
Okay.
and I'm gonna put a link in that I hope will help with that too. Yeah, I don't think Ruben is on education. So let me put that in. But thank you for that question. If I don't get it answered here, I will make sure that I put I get that into the community. And those of you who are, as far as the slides are concerned, so since you have registered for this session, what we do as a part of our follow-up is that you'll get the recording, as well as we can embed the deck there. That I'm going to try for that. If not, please come into the community. You'll find everything there for sure. Okay, refresh rate. I'll make sure I get that. And then I'm going to see if this link will also give you what you're looking for. Any other question? I want to make sure we got
See a couple more up
Oh,
top,
yes.
Tara, about funding support. So I know there is CTE funding, but in my experience, there's not as much for elementary as there is for middle and high school. So I would definitely look into CTE grants and funding. I think there's like an assembly bill, right? Do you know what I'm talking about, Tara? Where they're granting the state of California at least a ton of money for this kind of stuff, and you can use it for esports because it's a CT pathway.
Yes.
For us, I tried to keep it cheap, right? And we went to our school committees, our parent teacher associations and our
Yes.
parent teacher clubs. So they were all pretty enthusiastic to support it. And then the kids just wrote them a thank you letter. But if you want to go bigger with like ViewSonic PCs type thing, that's going to be a lot more money than what we spent for each of our clubs. So it's really about, what you want to do with it. But
Right.
we did it for pretty minimal.
Which I mean, that's just another element of the story that I love. I mean, we're all looking, in terms of, okay, where do I start? How do I begin? And, Krista's story does a real beautiful job of starting with a very limited budget, right? And just limited resources as a whole, and seeing what that can turn into. And I think that's the really powerful part. It's like starting with what you have access to, and then reaching out to those resources like your PTA, and finding what little pockets of money you can, and grants. I see the Perkins grant here. Yeah, I mean, we last month we heard Claire, who gave us information around NASEF. So, I mean, these are all resources that will kind of help point you in the right direction of how to get started. And hopefully, starting where you can, and even if it means starting small, you've started, right? I think that's really the major takeaway, is that whether you're able to start large or small, the fact that you're actually starting it is the most powerful part of it. Let's see, any other questions? The games that we use them here also. Okay, Nintendo Switch outputs. I haven't seen any issues around. Okay, thank you for that, Jeff. I appreciate that.
Yep.
That's what I'm talking about. I appreciate when we've got some other experts on to help address questions. What I did do is I put in the link for our esports with ViewSonic. That's going to give you at least the specs. And so if there are additional questions, I encourage you to reach out to me. Also, as Krysta alluded to, within the community, it has truly become another channel of support. And so if you want to throw it out to the community where we've got even more folks who've got their eyes on it, a community member might respond to you. But if that doesn't happen, I can rest assured that someone within ViewSonic will respond. And so I do look forward to, you being able to get that question addressed, but then also hear from our community as well. Okay, I'm going through. Any other questions or comments that you guys have for the good of the group? I'm curious about any, as far as takeaways. What I haven't been able to hear, and again, you can come off mute, is where you are in the process and what this might encourage you to do next. Now that we're officially in the summer months, for most of us, I believe, in the summer months, what does that, what do your next steps look like, depending upon where you are in the process? Anyone want to, again, you can please feel free to come off of mute. I wouldn't want you to have to put that in chat. Anyone? I'll do that uncomfortable wait time. Anyone? Okay, let's see here. Okay, I'll say it this way. Is anyone in a similar place like Krysta, where, resources are limited and you're like, okay, this is what we have. It seems very meager, but any inspiration or anything you want to share? Okay, thanks, Jeff. We are doing Esports Club at our high school. Into competitive teams. Okay.
Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, integrating that computer science and the STEM, that's how you got to do it, I think.
Yeah.
But I like that you guys have already started. How's the high school level one going? Some people are having microphone.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Hopefully
stream the matches.
Can
and
you hear me?
Oh, yes.
I decided I didn't like you guys having to deal with the silence, so I thought I'd open my big mouth. But
thank you, Laura.
but we're just, we're grappling with, and I put it in the chat, but then I figured I'm just going to talk. We're grappling with making sure that it's just not a game. And I think that is the biggest fear among educators and, and the higher ups, and to make sure that it just doesn't turn into just a gaming time for kids and get away from the real connection that it can be. So I think that's the biggest hurdle for us right now, is just to be able to make sure that there's curriculum there that is meaty enough in the video. In the esports program. So, and I know Kathy could speak more to this because Kathy Rodriguez, she's been really, yeah, she's there too. She could speak to it because you're welcome, because she's been really doing all the heavy lifting with getting this going. So I'm going to shut up now. And Kathy, you are much more on this.
No, thank you so much. I was gonna say something and I was kind of shy, I was like, should I? No, but let me just say that Laura and I and a couple of other my colleagues actually are on this call. We represent the Los Angeles County Office of Education, and so we are really excited about the opportunity that we have as a county office to help our districts with whatever they need, including resources for money. They might need to buy equipment or training for coaches. We want to help with all of that. We ourselves are not going to be convening, group tournaments or that kind of thing, but we want to be involved with the districts because this has grown like wildfire in Los Angeles County. Multiple school districts either want to be on board, they already have a program, they're trying to expand their program. And one thing I want to share that's very exciting that's happening because I saw, why aren't girls playing? Well, something is happening this fall. We're going to do a little pilot test with this. We're going to look at grades 3 through 5 playing. So there's going to be 3 districts that are going to take part in this experiment. So we can see, we're going to watch it carefully and see how that works out with younger children, because so far it's been middle and high school who have been involved in esports. Now we're going to take it down to grades 3 through 5 and see what that's like for these young students. And we know they're already playing at home, just like the middle schools are and the high schoolers are. So we want to really look at that and then see where we take it from there. But we also want to continue to monitor. And I'd like to just say for anyone who is on this call, if you're in Los Angeles County, we want to reach out to you and help you. You're feel free to contact us if we can help you in any way with materials. We're in our own process, as Laura was saying, looking at the important connection to curriculum, because I think that's what turns a lot of people off, and especially when they have to go to the board and talk about why they want to do this. I loved what you said, Krysta, about you were trying to bring this up and they were like, what? Like, why are you doing this? But we can, as educators, connect these ideas with strong curriculum. And it's not just in science, there are so many other areas of the curriculum that we can attach these ideas to and let children still have an opportunity to play with a Nintendo Switch or whatever they have. How wonderful for them. I think it's an exciting time in education. And I don't want to take up any more time, but thank you so much for having this webinar, because it's been great to hear what's going on at ViewSonic, and we're excited to be part of it.
Thank you both. And Los Angeles County, I might be reaching out to you because I know you guys have had a very successful rollout of the computer science standards, and you guys are kind of being used as a model throughout the state. So I would love to talk to you more.
Please contact us. We have a lot to offer. We can help you with resources. I can put my contact information in the chat, and you're welcome to contact me, and I'll forward you to the right people. But we have a team of educators here who are committed to helping others, and it's exciting to see this connection between science and esports. We love it. That's why we're all here, because we're excited. I'll put my name down here.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate, I think that's one of the things that I love so much about how Krysta did her curriculum. I love that project component of it, and then presenting and being very transparent around, we saw the images of the kiddos presenting their project and having to decide what pathway they wanted to go into and commit to it, research it out, present it. Like love all that. My background's in gifted education, and so project-based learning and problem-based learning, all that kind of good stuff. Like I see how that's interwoven into the STEM curriculum with around esports, and that's the part where when you show those images and you talk about and you're able to get like those real authentic conversations about how kids like put their project together, that's when it like comes alive and you see that, oh, it's so much more than gaming. Like we're literally quote unquote tricking them into doing some really cool research about a possible career pathway. So I appreciate Krysta sharing that part of the curriculum, because as Kathy was saying, and I know we all feel this way, is getting them to really see the power of the curriculum element. And I so thank you, Krysta, for sharing that part of it. And thank you all. Thank you for sharing. Yay, we got to have a conversation. That makes me so happy. Because that's what I want you all to hear and really benefit from. So thank you both. I'm so grateful to have both Laura and Kathy pipe in. Thank you, thank you. Anyone else? I'm going through the comments now. Anyone else want to share or have any questions for anybody? Even I know, and thank you, Kathy, for putting your information in. Thank you, thank you.
Just keep having them. Just keep
Yes,
doing, you know what I mean? Just let's
absolutely.
keep this a regular thing and
Yes.
part of our work,
Yes.
because then we really can be a nice repository for each other. So
Yes, absolutely. And that is truly, truly the goal. I didn't say this at the top, but the managing my goal with managing the community is that if it's in our ecosystem, I want to ensure that I am providing the best possible resources I can within the community. So when in terms of doing these digital workshops, that's the goal. Like you just said, Laura, is to keep the conversation going. And so esports has been super popular. So while it started as a 3-part series, I am hearing that it needs to be monthly. And so we'll make sure that we keep this going, because what I love is that these conversations are happening and they're necessary, and I want to make sure that we're supporting them. So thank you for that, and that only confirms what I was thinking after the first session. And so we do have one more installment as of right now. I am going to program in some more esports stuff, but next month we're going to hear from Compton Unified School District, which is in fact represented with LACO. So I'm excited about that. I just met with Alvaro yesterday, who's going to be presenting for us. So so you'll be seeing the promo around that for July. But Krysta, thank you for your story, and thank you all for participating. If there aren't any other questions or comments, I am going to quickly pop in and see. I do see 1, 2 folks have, 3, yay. So what's going to happen is I'm gonna, like I promised, I'm gonna give you guys another hour or so, and then I'm gonna pick 2, just because I want to. I'm gonna pick 2 folks to win our gift card incentive, because this was such a wonderful conversation, and I just appreciate you all participating, and I appreciate you more for engaging in the community, because that is how we do keep the conversation going. You will most definitely get the deck. I know everyone wants the deck, and then we're going to have the recording as well. Okay. Any other final questions, comments, anything? Beautiful. Krysta, thank
Feel free
you.
to contact me. You guys can email me, and in the slides, I put the link up there, and Tara will send it out later.
Yes,
Also,
absolutely.
my work phone number's there. Call me, email me, text me. Thanks,
awesome.
guys.
Thank you all. I appreciate you guys, and I hope to see you next month. Okay, bye-bye. Thanks.